Thank you for joining the Doctor Whisperer. I am your host, Sharon Feckety, and I am happy to bring you a show where we talk about the business of medicine. I hope that you enjoy it. Please feel free to share, subscribe, and pass it on. Enjoy the show. Hello, everybody, and boy, are you in luck. You are not only going to meet one of my favorite people in Tampa Bay, but she is Julie Abrams, a registered financial consultant, a certified instructor for the Retirement Wealth Academy, which provides financial education classes to people in the Tampa Bay area for free. And I happen to know she has one coming up in October in Palm Harbor, or some people call it Palm Harbor, like I say it from New York. But anywho, welcome to the show, Julie. I'm so glad you're here.
Thanks, Sharon. Very happy to be here.
So why would I want Julie on this show? Well, let me tell you, I've been working in the healthcare industry for many, 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 many years. And one of the things that I hear the most with physicians is, well, my neighbor suggested, my brother suggested, my wife suggested, and it all usually is about finances. I had a physician who had a neighbor that handled our company's 401k, and it's very hard when it comes to nepotism in business. So I have brought Julie to highlight and elaborate why that might not always be a great idea. How does that sound, Julie?
Sounds great, Sharon. Thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, there are a lot of really good benefits of working with a financial advisor. One, of course, is that this is what we do 24/7. You should be looking at somebody who's had experience in the finance world for many years. We've been schooled and monitored in our performance. We have ethics checks. And the other important thing about working with an advisor is that in many cases, there are proprietary products that only an advisor can offer to you. So for example, I write all of my products through my registered investment advisory firm, which is Brookstone Capital Management. And we have a proprietary product. It's called a Flash Note, which is something that you can't purchase online through trading. It's an institutional product. It's something that's very important to learn about with the economy that we're in right now. And again, the only way that you would know about it is through a financial advisor who is affiliated with BCM.
So you've been in the business for a long time, so over 30 years.
Yes.
I want to know personally why you chose this career and what has kept you in it for so long.
Yeah, great question. So I would say my motivation for being in the financial services world is actually very personal. When I was growing up, probably when I was about 16 years old, my family experienced some really devastating financial times, and it really changed the trajectory of our future, impacted the family in quite a detailed way. So it's always been a passion of mine. I really felt like if these members of my family had some professional advice and knew a little bit more about what was available to them and maybe helped coach them a little bit on how they could have been more successful, that other families could avoid what we have gone through.
Yeah. Well, I love that it's personal. I think that when a business is started because there's been a personal experience, there's just that extra level of care. And I know from knowing you for a while now that I have learned so much, a little bit more than I wanted to, but I've certainly learned a lot, and you've opened my eyes up to a lot. So, let me just mention that there are not a lot of women in the industry. And so for somebody like me, who I feel embarrassed at times that I don't really understand certain things. That's why when a physician hires me and they start talking about financials, I say, if you want me to help you go under in that area, I'm perfect for you. That's not my strength. My strength is more, business operations, growing your business, bringing on the right team, making sure that there's the right, procedures and protocols. So I've always been so interested in why we don't have more women in this industry. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I can. I've been in the industry again for over 30 years. And when I entered the industry, I think there were about 2% of the advisors were female. I think now actually it's closer to almost 20%, which is a great increase. I think that the environment has changed tremendously. Women were not generally pushed into the finance arena unless they had a specific interest. I would say that today I am finding more and more females interested in this type of work. It's a great type of job to have flexibility if you have a family. And also it's just a wonderful way to be of service to people. You asked me why I like doing what I do. And I would just say that it's a wonderful thing for me to be able to see my clients achieve their financial goals. I'm very, very service oriented. So one of the things that I know as a female for me is that I'm very concerned about making sure that my customers know at all times where they are with their accounts. We're talking regularly if we need to make changes. They'll learn, in a very timely manner if there are new products that are available. Again, these proprietary products that I have access to, I'm always making sure that they know that they have access to those if they need to add those to their portfolio. But I think today the female component of the financial services industry really just needs more leaders like myself to encourage those young women to, look at this as a really, really good career and a great way to, again, be of service to people financially.
Yes. Go girls, go ladies. So, one of the other things, and of course, this is giving me all these flashbacks about when I was running medical practices. And I might not know a lot. I obviously don't know as much as you, but I know the obvious. And I know one of the very obvious things, especially when it comes to physician practices, is that they rely heavily on their accountants to help them with, planning for retirement and trying to help them save money in certain ways. And I've always been so perplexed about that, it's so separate in terms of what you do and what an accountant does. And really, it's great to have a collaborative team, but they are certainly very vastly different. Can you expand upon that a little bit, Julie?
Sure. Working with people who are getting close to retirement or who are in retirement, I would have to say that their biggest regret is not getting started sooner. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that we try and help people with is to start planning. It doesn't matter really whether you're 40, 50, 60, whatever the case may be. There's no time like the present. And the worst mistake that people make with their money is procrastinating. Waiting until the last minute to do planning is really not a good recipe for success. So for example, with what you were mentioning about the accountants, there are some very important financial tools that doctors have access to, and one of them would be a Roth IRA. So in my practice, we do help a lot of people in retirement, and I would say 95% of the time, the majority of the type of money that people have is 100% taxable. Well, with some proper planning prior to retirement, there are some things that you can do, again, with Roth IRAs to make sure that you have some money in retirement that will not be taxed. So this is a very important concept. I'm very passionate about it, and everybody should be looking at how Roth IRAs can help them in the future. The chances of us having tax increases later down the road is very great. And so you want to make sure that you're positioned, even like I said, in your 40s, to make sure that you have money in retirement that will not be taxed. And one of the best ways to do that is with Roth IRA money.
Yes, I have certainly learned that from you, Julie. I feel pretty good about that myself because of you. Right. And it is so important. I always mention to physicians that I work with that it is so important for them to be planning for their future, planning for their retirement, thinking about owning the real estate versus renting properties and things like this. I would be in meetings, with the CPA, and they would ask these kind of questions, which I know that the CPA is not versed in, or maybe they have some knowledge, but they're certainly not an expert like you are for over 30 years. So why do you think it is so it seems obvious, but why is it so important for these doctors to plan better for retirement?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, hope is not a financial strategy. Hope is not a financial strategy, right? And so hoping that things work out when you turn 65 just is not a good way to go.
Are you still running your medical practice like it's 1990? Well, what about Riva Global Medical Virtual Assistants? A medical virtual assistant, I promise you, is the way to run your medical practice today. Why? Because you can save, I don't know, thousands of dollars. No more paying for health insurance, no more worrying about office space. You also have trained professionals. These wonderful human beings get trained, and they have a client service manager that makes sure that your VA that you're working with for your practice is hitting all the goals that you need to make sure that your practice is run efficiently and friendly. Check out Riva Global Medical Virtual Assistants today. We interrupt this awesome podcast to share with you about our sponsor, TIE Technology. TIE Technology was founded with the thought that every customer deserves exceptional customer services. So if you know of any company that has a phone system where the auto attendant doesn't really sound good, you press 1 and you think you're going to go to a live person, but you end up with a broken recording, it's probably time that you call TIE Technology. And if you mention this podcast, you will get the first 3 months for free. So make sure you mention the Dr. Whisperer podcast show. Check them out.
So again, learning now. Don't wait until you're 65 to figure out what you're going to be doing with your retirement funds. I really can't stress enough that procrastinating is not in anyone's best interest. There are tools that you can implement while you're working that will set you up for a fantastic retirement. Again, just working with somebody who knows what those tools are, having somebody in your corner who's had the experience of seeing markets go down multiple times, knowing what those alternative investments are that will not stress your portfolio when we're in a down market. I can't stress enough how important it is to not wait, talk to somebody now. The accountant isn't really responsible for giving you financial advice, right? They're responsible for giving you tax advice.
Right.
So it's important to have a team and to learn about all the strategies that can be helpful to you that will, again, ensure successful retirement.
100%. Yes. I have a bookkeeping company, a CPA, and a financial advisor, and that is a team to have, and I remember the first year opening my own business and being frustrated that my accountant didn't catch something that could have saved me a lot of money in the future. And then I realized that wasn't actually his job. So, we live and we learn. And I think that what you just said is so important. We really have to think about not just the now, and not really depend on hope. Right. Hope is great, but it's certainly not great in terms of your retirement. So I really enjoyed following your social media content. I'm always learning a lot. I love that you're putting out educational tools and tips and resources. You've written some books, and you're providing some value to people to just learn more and to get more informed. And one of the questions that you answered recently in your social was, so this is September 2022, right, that this is coming out. My question to you is, are we in a recession?
Okay, great question. And I'm sure a lot of people have been reading things about this in the news or watching it on TV. And the technical definition of a recession are having 2 negative quarters of gross domestic product, which means that manufacturing and other types of businesses have been down 2 quarters in a row. Technically, we have met that definition. However, this is a very unusual time. A typical recession, we would see interest rates going down instead of up. We would also see high unemployment, which we're not experiencing right now. So there are other things that really go into the recession equation. So right now, I would just say that technically, yes, that definition we have met, and that's why you hear a lot of people saying that we are in a recession. I think we're going to be getting some jobs jobs information over the next couple of weeks. And with the market being down for the last 4 days, we've seen some big changes. And I would say it's very possible that by the end of 2022 and definitely in 2023, we could be in a full-blown recession.
Okay, Julie. Thank you.
But there's good news too.
Oh, good. So let's hear some of the good news.
Yeah. So again, this has to do with working with a financial professional.
Right.
And that our job is, or in particular, my job is to help my clients navigate all of the changes that may be coming down the road in the near future. And as I mentioned, there are proprietary products that are not available to people through the basic trading platforms that you won't find out about or know about unless you work with somebody who is aware of those. So again, there's always a silver lining in a down market or a down economy. You just have to know somebody who is aware of what those things are.
And I know that you have kept clients for a very long time. And one of the things that probably separates you from a lot of other advisors, registered financial consultants at that, is that you do see and keep in touch with your clients on a regular basis. Is that right?
That is correct, Sharon. I meet with people as often as they want to see me. Some people want to see me every month, some people quarterly, some annually. We also provide a kind of a spreadsheet, which is a condensed version of people's statements that we give you every time we meet with you so that you can kind of see everything on one page. I do have clients stay with me for a long time. I'm very proud of that. Again, I think a lot of that has to do with service and also calling people when things are not good, right? We always call when things are good, but you really want to hear from your advisor in December of last year when we knew that there were some major changes that were going to be taking place that could potentially cause the market to go down. That was the time that we were reaching out to all of our clients, making sure that everybody was prepared and knew about it. And again, that's something that I really pride myself on with regard to my relationship with my customers.
Love that. All right, Julie, I have one more, and this comes straight from your social media content too. I'm watching, I'm listening.
Thank you.
So, and these are things that I would not normally be, discussing, but I'm so happy because I really think that especially doctors and even practice managers that listen and watch this show, we really you have to help our physician clients. We have to help our doctors because they're helping save lives. So we have to help them write their financial prescription. And I really do think that that's vital. And I think it is one of the most serious jobs about somebody that is managing a medical practice, that they put them in touch with the right people. And there is a team watching out for their best interests so they can do what they do best, right? So interest rates are going up. Mm-hmm. Why aren't we making more money in our accounts and our credit unions?
Yes. So this is one of the most common questions that I get right now. And the answer is really pretty simple. Right now, the banks and credit unions have a lot of cash on hand. They really don't need our money enough to be paying us a higher rate of return on that money. Okay. And it's really a supply and demand type of situation. Yes, interest rates are higher for mortgages, car loans, et cetera, but we are not going to see that in the banking community until they get to the point where they feel like they need to pay us more for our dollar. And honestly, I'm not quite sure when that will happen, but it's very much a function of how badly they need more cash inflow in their banking situation.
Gotcha. So Julie, before we say ta-ta for now, is there anything else that you want to leave with the audience? Some tips, some tricks, some insight as to how we can better prepare our financial health?
Sure. I wrote a book, which is the most common mistakes people make with their money. And again, I mentioned what the number one mistake is. And the number one mistake is procrastination. Financial planning is not something that you should put off for the future. You can potentially miss a lot of opportunities by not taking the time to really start when you know you need to. It doesn't mean that you have to have a lot of money either. It just means that you have to have a plan. So I would just say, take some time to review your situation. Take some time to figure out how a financial professional may be able to enhance what you're currently doing. I work with a lot of people who manage some of their own money and have me help them with some of their money. That's fine. You know, it's like you were saying, it's a team effort. So I would just say, don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today. Hope is not a financial strategy.
That should be the hashtag of the day. Hope is not a financial strategy, everybody. So we're going to have all of Julie's information in the show notes. I would highly encourage anybody that's in the Tampa Bay area to look out for that October event that's happening in Palm Harbor. And there'll be more of those events. So follow Julie Abrams' social media. We'll have all of the links in the show notes so you could get prepared and not bank on hope anymore. Put money in the bank, not hope.
Right.
How's that?
Excellent.
All right, Julie, thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Sharon.
So if you want to party like it's 1999, but run your medical practice like it's 2022, don't forget to check out Riva Global Medical Virtual Assistants. So don't forget, if you mention that you've seen the show or listen to it on the podcast, mention Thai Technology and you will get 3 months for free.